Hey guys, welcome to the Titanium Vault. I'm your host, RJ Bates III. And this has been a long time coming, but I got my brother, my friend, just one of the best guys in the entire industry with us, Charles Hernandez. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
I think that's like the first time I've said your full name there. You to
Yeah.
me, you're Uncle Charles, right? To the
Yeah.
whole community, you're Uncle Charles, man. You're one of the just the guys that everybody has a kind word to say about in the industry. So for those that don't know who you are, give a brief background of how you got into real estate and all the crazy things that you've done since you've been in it.
Well, I mean, it's been a long journey. I actually, my glass is a little crooked here. I actually got into the business in 2003, but on the mortgage side, and I was pretty successful with mortgages, running some broker shops and then a couple of mortgage banks. And the crash came, and man, I thought I had made it because I had
Right.
a few $1 million. I had 7 houses and 3 offices, and man, dude, I will tell you this. You realize real quick that a few $1 million is nothing because it goes like that, especially when the government gets involved. So, you know, 2009, 2010, 11 were very hard years for me. And then in 2000, I think it was December of 2011, honestly, I mean, don't get me wrong, I had some money, but it was tied up with other
Right.
stuff. But in my pocket, liquid, I had $700, and I made a decision to order to start a realty company. And a friend of mine who was a broker who had known for a long time, I said, "Hey, will you sponsor my LLC?" And I created a brokerage, and I spent 507 to order an LLC. And by the end of January, I had about $30,000. And I just, we started building the company. Michael came on board. We started the company primarily as a realty company. Then we started flipping, and then we started hearing about taking over properties. I already had done a lot of creative stuff
Right.
earlier, so we started doing a lot of creative financing, and we started taking properties over subject to the assumption. Back then, it wasn't called sub two,
Right.
and then we started, portfolioing, and it just kind of evolved from there. A lot of people would sometimes ask us, like, "How do you guys do so much stuff?" Well, we don't do it every day. It's just that we've done it over the years, and we have a team that helps us do
Right.
this. It's impossible to do all this stuff yourself.
So you guys, when y'all started the realty company, you were just doing like listings and buyer representation, right? Just as a traditional realtor.
I would say like the first 3 to 4 months, that's primarily what it was. And right away it morphed into, hey, let's flip some properties. And
Gotcha.
then within a year, we were already doing properties subject to the assumption, which are sub twos.
Right.
And we're getting real creative on deals. So it all happened fairly quickly.
When did wholesaling become a part of y'all's business?
Wholesaling, ironically, didn't actually become full scale for us until like about 2016.
Wow.
We had heard about it, and a lot of people don't realize is that today you can get a lot of this information on YouTube, although it's all scattered all over the
Right.
place. But nobody wanted to teach, nobody wanted to share information, nobody wanted to share contract, real simple concepts, man. And we just had to we pretty much reverse engineered everything that we've done. And I think we wholesaled our first property, maybe a few of them in 14, a few of them in 15, and by 16 we knew. And
That's
so that's
funny. Actually timeline wise, it's almost identical to mine and Cassie's journey.
mm,
We started our first business in 2011. So like 2010, we were starting to get into it. 2011, 2012 was like our first real year of being an entrepreneur together. And then we wholesaled some deals in 2014, but we'd already done some flips. But that's
yeah,
because we were contractors, right?
yeah,
And you don't hear very many people talking about getting into flips and stuff like that before wholesaling. But to your
yeah,
point, it's because the information wasn't available. So
that's
for
right.
like for me, I wanted to just do flips. I didn't know there was such a thing as wholesaling. So it's kind of funny early on because you didn't have a whole lot of money. how did you figure out ways to fund those flips, that first couple of years?
Well, the we had we had credit. So well, I didn't have credit. Michael had credit, and my wife had really good credit. So a lot of people don't know this, and I'll share it with you. We actually started with, my wife. I got her line of credit for 40,000. Mike had a line of credit for 40 and 50,000, and then our Lowe's, our independent Lowe's, and Home Depots, and
Yep.
there's another company here in San Juan, Guadalupe. Like we had $30,000 credit lines with each one of them. So it made it real easy to do it to do the deals, and then we would partner up with homeowners sometimes where we would keep the notes in place that they
Yep.
had, and we would pay the notes, and maybe they had taxes, so we would get creative, say, hey, let us pay the taxes, and then so they would wait for their money, right? While we completed the flips, listed them, and then they get cashed out. So it was we really didn't do a lot of hard money loans in the very beginning. We were just being real creative with how we were taking down the properties.
So in reality, it was somewhat of a novation.
Yeah, I guess you could say that it was
You
very
were
similar
flipping it.
to.
I mean, you were doing the work where a lot
Mhm.
of people nowadays are just kind of on the full retail deal saying, hey, I'm going to come in and sell the property and I'm just going to carve out my piece. That's kind of what people think of a novation today, but that is a version of doing it where you were coming in
Yeah,
and flipping it.
and people actually we didn't call it innovations back then, but a lot of people don't realize that innovations have been around for probably 100 years, man.
Right.
It's just now that they've gotten a lot, they've it's become a vogue type of strategy.
Well, it's because of the educators, right? And the
Yeah.
content. You talked about it. You didn't have the content available to do wholesaling,
Yeah.
but you once you figured it out, you like you said, you reverse engineered. When do you think HBHS was like? You knew, hey, this is what we're gonna do for the rest of our lives. Like we're on to something. We're gonna be big.
So Michael at the time was still in the military, and he was he did 4 years while he was stationed here, and when we first got together, we said, look, we're gonna start this company, and I had experience in business before, and I had set really strict ground rules that we both follow to this day. For example, we don't argue, we stop arguments, get out of my office. That's one, and the other one is everything's 50-50. We don't do side deals. That usually kills a company. And
Absolutely.
so there's a few ground rules that we have. What happened was that Michael's re-up into the army, I think, was in 2016, early 2016, and we said, let's just ride this wave, and we'll make a decision then. And so during that time, Trek had just changed the guidelines on how long it would take you to become a broker. So we said, hey, during this time, let's put in the work, so to see if we can get your broker's license. And when 2016 hit, he had a big decision to make, and that was going to be whether I was going to move on my own, and continue doing what we're doing, and maybe at that point it would have just been some guy here in San Antonio doing real estate, and not branding or anything like that.
Right.
But he decided to. By that time, he had married, my daughter, and he had decided, what, I've taken enough shots at me, because he had gone to war twice, and he decided not to reenlist. And a lot of higher ups, and I mean people of stature, colonels, a couple of generals, really wanted him to reenlist, but he decided not to. And that's when I knew. We decided at that time, let's get an office. We didn't have an office at the time. We worked out of my house. So in 2016, we decided to get an office and build a team. And we knew then at that point that we're going to try to build something special. And it's a lot of work, guys. I mean, it's one thing running a business. I know you can appreciate this. It's one thing running a business, right? Or excuse me, it's one thing doing real estate, and then all of a sudden you turn it into a real business. You're like, okay, I'm running a business, and then you're like, man, I want a brand, and that's a whole other monster,
Yep.
because it's a whole other thing that people like. You have so much to learn. And then, of course, the fourth step, I think, would be like, hey, man, I want a franchise or something. But it's been hard, man. I mean, it's nothing's easy about it. So
I looking back at it, I think the first time we met was 2018 in
hmm
Houston at Wholesaling.
yeah,
Um, so you're talking about 2016 is when y'all got an office, kind of really going all in on we're going to create a business.
yeah,
When I met you 2 years later, you guys came strolling in at Wholesaling like an army.
yeah,
You had the black and gold, turn up the hustle shirts.
yeah.
So talk about what happened from 2016 to 2018, where you were coming in as a company and you had a team of people. How did
I
that
think
take place?
I think at that time, people still. I mean, there's a lot of people that know now that know how to do this business. At the time, people were still learning. So I've taught a lot of people here in San Antonio a lot, and we had a lot of folks that wanted to work, and we had this concept: work with us, not for us. So people could actually come work with us and not be our employees, right? And
Right.
so we had a lot of good people. I still, to this day, I still have, I think, four of those people that work with me from the 2016. They're still here, um, and I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story if you don't mind.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The reason, the reason that I took in, I think we had 16 guys, and I had another 15 at the office. I took so many, it's because I felt a little way that I wasn't invited, we weren't invited to present, And I was like, man, we're doing all this business, but we got left out of this really nice event. And it actually would have been our first event to speak on. And so I said, well, I'm going to make a statement. I'm going to let, if I can't get on stage, I'm going to let everybody know who we are. And so that's why I brought everybody, and it worked because I got attention from everybody that I wanted to get attention from, and became friends with a lot of those folks.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I was there as a speaker, and
Mhm.
you guys came strolling in, and I'm like, holy cow, who are these people? Like this is amazing. I mean, because it wasn't just you and Mike. I mean, it was your half of your team was there,
Yeah.
and it did make a statement about, hey, you better pay attention to HBHS. This is a thing. And then y'all had the catchphrase, turn up the hustle,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh yeah, baby, like I'm all about that. This is something. And ever since then we've been friends. I
Mhm.
mean, that was the moment where it was like, no, I want to know those people. Like they're doing something right there.
Yeah, I have friends with a lot of the folks from that event. It was actually a really good event. I thought,
Yep,
I'm sorry that they don't actually do it anymore. I thought it was really nice. Probably
I
one of the
agree.
best events, that I ever went to.
Yeah. So you guys are known for the catchphrase "turn up the hustle" and all of the content that you guys provide and stuff like that, but you're also known for the creative finance side of what you guys do in your business. The first time I ever heard you speak on stage was at Ground Zero,
Mhm.
and I was standing in the back. That was another event that I was speaking at, and I was speaking, I believe, later that day, if not right after you guys. And I remember you guys were up there, and you're like, "Hey, what we're doing is we're buying this LLC, and we're buying the property stuff too." And you were going in all these super intricate, creative ways to do real estate. Did your mortgage background help you with that, or how did y'all come up with the knowledge of how to do these creative deals?
Uh, I want to say so. Back when the mortgages was going on, we used to have to get real creative on. I used to work with Nehemiah, get people into FHA deals, sub 500 credit scores, alternative credit, all kind of crazy stuff. And then we were doing silent seconds, with it was real creative back then. So my thought process has always been that, to just be creative, not only on doing deals, but creative in getting deals. And so that was the foundation for it. But if I have to just be real clear, I can't take full credit because Mike and I spent many, many nights together trying to figure out how to close a hard deal or reverse engineer something that we heard about. we knew people were doing something, but we didn't know exactly how they were doing it. And we figured out a lot of stuff on our own. And so I think the foundation of doing creative comes from that, but I can't take full credit and say, hey, I'm the one that was the engineer of it, because we both were.
Gotcha. So when you talk about, you and Mike sitting down and having these long nights to try to figure out how to make the deal work, I resonate with that because me and Cassie have a very similar, partnership to you and Mike from that regard. And there's a level of care that we have for both our business, but also the seller in that case, right? Where it mandates a creative solution. And as the real estate investor, we need to come up with that solution. So when you talk about that, are there, especially with having a team, are there certain things that trigger your team to understand how to solve a real estate transaction with the creative solutions? Have y'all systematized it that much inside of your team?
So, in our team is, anytime you have a team and you do a lot of different type of strategies, it's hard to teach them everything, because
Right.
look, unless I compare it to boxing. A boxer can hit the bags, really good at speed bag, really good at shadow boxing, jump roping, but until you get in the ring, you don't know that shit actually works.
Right.
You know, you don't know if you're gonna bob and weave at the right time. So what we do is we teach our guys to identify the strategy. So we run a wholesaling operation as a like incubator, rather, if you will. The incubator produces wholesaling deals, but it could produce flips, it could produce hotel deals, it could produce creative finance deals, subject twos. I'll give you a good example. Like, we just picked up a sixplex contract that one of my guys identified that we could take over, and we're gonna hotel that. So we're gonna cash it out and we're gonna hotel it. I'll give you another good example. Right now, I'm actually working on a deal where it's fixing to get foreclosed. They just brought it to my attention. It's fixing to get foreclosed on Tuesday. Now, the listing agent in Houston has a listing agreement with an individual who has a life estate. She has no rights to list the property. The three heirs are with us on a contract. So what do I do? Do I pay $5,000 or $4,500 to stop the foreclosure and I have no rights? First thing I did is I made the broker aware. I just had a conversation with her. I said, you're erroneously listing this property. I told my guy, I need the affidavits of ownership that are done. I need a letter from Alamo Title stating that this property is in escrow, it's fixing to close on Friday. So we got that. I need a death certificate and I need a POA right now. What am I going to do? I'm going to get on the phone after you. I'm going to get on the phone with the lender and say, hey, here on the POA, here's the affidavit of ownership, here's the contract, and here's the death certificate, and here's Alamo Title's letterhead stating that we're fixing to close on Friday. I need you to stop this foreclosure.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, they will stop the foreclosure because they do not want to smoke. They don't want to not give somebody the opportunity to not sell the property. So we're gonna do that. It looks like the broker's gonna cave on the other side, and that's gonna give us time to do this deal. Now, I explained that because most people right away they revert to, I got to do a TRO. But if you use the steps that I just showed you, 9 times out of 10, the lender's gonna be like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and postpone this. And
You
you just
know,
gotta be. Go ahead.
I love the fact that you shared that story because literally 25 seconds before I hit the record button on this podcast, I heard a team member walk into your studio and say, hey, I got the POA.
Yeah.
I could hear it. And it's like, this is how you know when you're talking to someone that's doing the business. You know what I'm saying? When it's like specific examples of ways that you are stopping foreclosures and you're helping someone in a situation that's a messy situation that a lot of people wouldn't know how to resolve that those circumstances, right?
The thing that people don't know is, there's stuff that you can use to your advantage. Like, for example, this lady doesn't want to get out. That's okay. I don't want to get it off forcefully, but most likely this goes the way I want it to go. We're going to have to force her out, and one, I know that she has lost her life estate rights. Why? Because she has not maintained the property, and two, she hasn't paid the property for 2 years. So you've lost your rights. So we're going to have to evict her, and I'm okay with that. Now, the reason I'm real interested in the deal is because the heirs are going to make money, but we stand to make a $45,000 hit on that deal. So why wouldn't you go outside the box and
Right.
try to make that
So
deal
what are
work?
you going to do with it? Just turn around and sell it?
I actually already have a buyer. We
So
have a
you're a
buyer
wholesaler.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a buyer, and I'm trying. So one of my guys here is trying to convince the buyer to go ahead and take the deal and close it on Friday. They're actually ready to close on Monday, but the problem is I got to stop the foreclosure. And then there's this issue with this lady. So we need to buy a little bit of time. Worst case scenario, I'll follow TRO. Worst case, but I really believe we can get it stopped. So, guys, for those of you that are paying attention, this is not. I wouldn't take these actions on a deal that I was going to make, $6,000-7,000 on, or something less. The
Right.
reason you take these actions is because one, it's going to make a lot of money for us. Two, it's going to make the heirs a lot of money because they stand to make a lot of money. And it's a doable deal. You just take a little bit of time to figure it out.
I've said this for many years about the Phoenix market being great about the community atmosphere. I said that back at Wholesaling in 2018. I said, man, everywhere out there should look at Phoenix as a leader as far as the community goes. I think San Antonio has surpassed Phoenix at this point as far as the community goes. I think you guys, among some other people, have spearheaded that community feel, not only just in San Antonio but across the state of Texas. But also, you've done it in a different way. Phoenix did it a lot from the education standpoint, but you guys have done it from the doing deals aspect of things, and I love that. And also, I do if I had a creative deal that I did not know how to resolve, there are you guys are my first call. And if it's a commercial deal or if it's a freaking land deal that's landlocked, I'm calling Logan Fulmer.
Bro,
Dirty
I was
title
just
deal.
I was just at his office like 2-3 days ago. I mean, I love being in San Antonio because there's a lot of good people here. But the thing is, there's a lot of good people all over Texas. I've called you before and said, hey,
Yeah.
what do you think about this deal? I see that there's a lot of good people in Dallas, Fort Worth. I mean, I just got off the phone with a guy in the Valley, here in McAllen. We're doing a deal in Corpus Christi. There's some folks out of El Paso. They're fixing to send me the tax delinquent list. I'm gonna have my guys skin it up for them, send them the leads. They're gonna send us deals. I think that I don't know, man. It's just a special thing. I think that a lot of people in Texas just talk to each other, man. It's not like just one city. It's like there's people from different cities talking to each other. It's a really great thing.
But I don't think you guys should underestimate the role that y'all have played in that. Like you guys have been leaders in making that the culture around here. With the events that you guys throw, every time I talk to you, you're like, hey, let's do more together. And the reality of it is, the reason why we haven't done more together is because of me, not because of y'all. It's just like I need to be better about accepting that invitation. So let's talk about the next thing that you guys have coming up, Wholesaling Live Sub 2.0, which, if you don't know about Wholesaling Live, you've been under a rock, but it was the best real estate investing event I've ever been to. So tell everybody about what Wholesaling Live Sub 2.0 is going to be.
So first of all, I see the belt back there.
Yeah, yeah, right there,
Yeah.
baby. It's here.
So let's go ahead and give the accolades here. So last year we did Wholesaling Live. It was an event that we had thought up for about 2 years. And we had been to a lot of events. And look, I love to go to events, but I felt, and this is not a knock on anybody or dig on anybody, but I felt that I had heard a lot of the stories several times because a lot of times it's the same people, and I felt that people were coming to these events and they weren't leaving with an experience. Like I know you have an experience-based event, and I love that, and I was like, I want to do something, but I want people to walk away with an experience,
Yeah.
and not just stories, because it's good to hear people's struggles and successes, but it's a different thing when you do it. And it goes back to the boxing. You got to get in the ring, right? And for 2 years we practiced. Nobody knew this, so we started an association here in San Antonio, and it was kind of a two-part thing. Because one of the reasons we started it is because there was a prominent guy here in San Antonio who had a large RIA, and it was starting to falter. And I had asked him if I could buy it, and he told me to my face, "I'll burn it down before I sell it to you." And I was
Wow.
like, "I'll just make my own." He said, "You'll never get it off the ground." I said, "Okay." So we said, "You know what? We're going to start the Home Buying Home Selling Association, and we're going to practice throwing mini events every week, every month rather." So every time we did a RIA meeting, and I hated calling it that, I called it an association, we would actually run it like an event. So my guys got a lot of practice. We had music, we had it was just a whole like an event every single time, not like a RIA. And then we practiced wholesaling live 3 times without mentioning it to the whole world. We practiced it 3 times, in the last 2 years, and we were like, man, we can do this. So then we said, okay, we're going to launch wholesaling live, and what we did was this: we wanted to pick speakers in where the event didn't become about them. That's why we didn't invite certain speakers. Not that we didn't want to, is that we didn't want the event to be about them. We wanted it to be about the people and the people coming. We picked sponsors that could deliver the products and the services the people need to do this business. And then we picked real estate influencers that were actually doing deals and that we knew personally and that we had interacted with in goodwill many times. And so that's what we did. So a lot of the real estate influencers that came, they knew that their main purpose was to give. So that means when we put actually, guys, when I say wholesale live, I mean we gave instruction from the stage, we provided services, PPC, Facebook leads, TikTok leads, VA leads, cold calling, all that stuff, and the people who actually got on the phone were making calls, and if they got stuck, they could raise their hand, and somebody like RJ would run over there and help them close that deal. We had people underwriting on the spot, contracts going out, and it was crazy because it was standing room only from 8:30 in the morning to like 7:30 at night, and it was something to see. I was real proud of it, but we couldn't have done it alone. We could not have done it alone. It took everybody that was there, even the people, but it took everybody that was there that participated that made that thing special. For example, you and your peers that went on stage for the challenge. I mean, I've gotten so many emails and people just like they loved it. They loved seeing it live.
Yeah.
They love watching you guys just battle it out live. And then, of course, you won, and that was a beautiful thing.
By the way, let me give you an update on this. So
Yeah,
this event was in September
yeah.
of 2022. We were recording this in June of 2023. I called the lead. She answered. I said, "Are you still looking to sell this property?" She said, "Yes." I said, "How much are you looking to get for it?" She said, $1.1 million. I said, "Okay, let me pull open the comps." I looked at Cassie because I'm standing on stage with a bar stool in front of me with Cassie's laptop for me to comp, and her laptop wasn't working. So I look at her and I'm like, God, help me. She runs up on stage. She gets it pulled up. I think I opened up PropStream. I look at Cassie and I said, she wants $1.1 million. She looks at me and she goes, good deal. Lock it up. I said, if I can close, no commissions, I cover the closing costs, what's the best price you could do for me? She said $1 million. She price dropped herself to $100,000 with one question. I said, what's your email? She gives me her email. 6 minutes later, I get a contract over to her and she signs it. Boom, it's over. You guys go crazy. Sparklers going everywhere. Aaron Bevins, Shark Tino's on stage. Everything's going crazy. I walk off stage. Tino's trying to tell the story. Mike was trying to tell the story. I said, hold on. I ran back up on stage. I tell him exactly what happened. I walked out of the building. Charles, my adrenaline left all of my body. And I looked at Cassie and I said, I'm done. We got to go. And she knew what that meant. So we got in the car and we started driving back to Fort Worth. We didn't say a word for an hour. And after an hour, I looked at her and I said, did that really happen? And she goes, yeah, I think it did. Now, here's the crazy part of this and why I wanted to share the story. A week later, the seller calls us and says, the hurricane that hit Florida ruined my family's house in Florida, and they are coming to live in my triplex here in the Bronx. I need to terminate the contract. And we said, hold on. Why do you need to terminate? Are they going to fix the house? And she said, yeah, but I don't know how long that's going to take. So we said, will you sign an extension? She goes, yeah, but I don't know for how long. I said, will you sign an extension for a year? She says, sure. I would love to have my house already sold. So we signed an extension for a year. We are just now sending out the assignment on that property today.
Wow.
We're still working that deal, baby.
There's still other folks that are working deals. We're still working a few deals. You know, just because it doesn't close right away doesn't mean it won't close. That's a really awesome story. And
because here's the thing, her situation mandated that happens. What do we do as real estate investors? We solve people's problems. Mm-hmm. And so it gave her the comfort of knowing when her family leaves that her property is sold. And in the meantime, she's felt comfortable. There hasn't been a rush. We've never rushed her or anything like that. Now she's like, okay, family's out. I'm now ready to close. The other thing, going back to the event, dude, I went and used the restroom at one point in time. I walked out of the restroom and there was a person standing right there around the corner trying to close down a sub-2 deal. And they looked at me and they said, can you help me? And I just got on the phone and then I told them, okay, do this. Boom, boom, boom. Locked up a sub-2 deal right there. I know Cassie helped someone lock up a sub-2 deal during the event. I know I got a person at the event, got a seller finance deal, no money down at 0% interest. It was crazy the amount of deals that just happened in that building, and you guys created that. So what in the world are you going to do for the second iteration of this? How are you going to top that?
Well, it's going to be bigger, better, and bolder. So the first thing is we secured the largest hotel in a large venue, larger than the last venue, I think by 2 times, maybe 2.5 times.
Nice.
So it's going to be huge. It's a huge ballroom, high ceilings, everything. This time around, we're going to ask people to bring their laptops. We're in talks right now with Call Tools, possibly. What I'm asking them to do, and I'm hoping they will, is provide everybody a dialer, so we can preload. We're actually talking to PropStream today. So of course, we're bringing back some of the gang, Investor Live, of course, to Dispo. I mean, the objective for Wholesaling Live this time is to outdo Wholesaling Live 1, get deals, but this time get commitments on purchases. We may not be able to clear title, but if we can get commitments to purchase, that's going to be one of the objectives. This other objective is we are going to have a sub-2 component to Wholesaling Live. That's why it's called Wholesaling Live sub 2.0. We are going to attempt to have some people walk out with a sub-2.
Right.
And or partner with us on it. If we can do that and accomplish those feats, I think that I don't know. I don't want to overspeak, but I don't think anybody's done that.
No,
And you know, a lot of folks they go to events and they come with a lot of inspiration, but they leave with no experience. At this event, you're going to get both. You're going to
absolutely.
you're going to get both. So that's
I've
what wholesale
I've
is.
had the I've had the benefit of being able to close on the wholesaling live stage, as well as participate 2 years at Closers Olympics. I absolutely loved Closers Olympics. Um, it was unlike anything that had ever been done before, but it's a virtual event, right? I can still feel comfortable sitting at my desk and kind of be in my own little realm. Bro, being on stage with 500 people staring at you is a whole nother level of adrenaline.
It was crazy, man.
That was a moment. I will tell you right now, I will never forget that moment of being able to get a signed contract on stage in front of 500 people. And like you said, the outreach from people that were like, dude, that was unbelievable. I've never seen anything like that before. Which it's funny because you sit there and I go, well, really, when you break it down, it's not any different than what I do on a daily basis. All I needed to do was talk to a seller and ask some questions and then solve her problem by buying the real estate, and then everything else fell in line. And I love when you talk about the experience side of wholesaling live. That's what it gives. It gives them reps in a room where you're seeing other people get reps, because that's all that was on stage. Was I went back to my training, everything that I've ever done, all those thousands and thousands of reps, and just repeated it, and it led to those results. That's why you guys have asked me, and I've told you, if you ever need anything from me, I'm there. I'm there. And if it means I need to get on stage and do it again in front of 1,000 people or 1,500 people, then I'll do it again.
So
Because I
let's
want that experience for people.
let's go ahead and address that. So first of all, I hope I'm not gonna get in trouble for saying this, but I thought you should have won Closer Olympics #1.
Oh, I agree.
Let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Second of all, you won Closer Olympics #2, and you won Wholesaling Live.
Yep.
I'm gonna I I I gave an example earlier about people that go to the gym and they hit the bag and they look really good and then they get in the ring and they choke. But what you did and what you did is you got in the ring and you proved that what you do um, is it works. And the thing, look, I actually watch a lot of your videos. And I love watching what you do. The what I love about your style is, man, you just get to the point, man. And it's not all this stuff, and don't get me wrong. I have a lot of friends that have a lot of good programs and scripts and stuff, and I get it. I'm a believer of scripts myself, but I'm also a big believer of learning your craft.
Yep.
And if you learn your craft well enough, it doesn't matter where in the conversation you're at or where it goes or where it deviates. You're just picking it up, and that to me is more natural. That to me is more natural. I think the customer feels more natural. So when people ask me sometimes, "Well, Charles, I'm just scared. I don't know." I said, "What are you scared of? If they say no to you, what did you lose? If they cuss you out, call them back next week."
Yep.
What I say to folks is, if you can have a conversation with somebody, just say hello and ask who they are or who you're looking for. That's where it starts. It's that simple. And people sometimes I think overcomplicate it. That's why I love. I mean, your stuff is golden, man. And so I know I've already invited you. I don't know if you guys watching out there. I actually reached out to RJ, which and if you don't mind me sharing this, RJ.
Yeah.
RJ's coming back to Wholesaling Live, and he's coming back not only to be a big part of it, but to defend the title.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. You know what's hilarious about that, Charles? I'll talk about a couple of things here. everyone wanted to ask me if I was going to come back and defend my title at Closers Olympics. I was like, that was like my first question after I won. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, why wouldn't I? It's what I do for a living. I mean, I don't judge people for a living. I close deals for a living. Second thing is, dude, you guys, I know for a fact that you're not blowing smoke up my ass when you say, like, hey, I watch your videos and stuff like that, because your team is hands down by far the most respectful team I have ever been around in this industry. Every time I've ever been around anybody that wears a HBHS or a Turn Up the Hustle shirt, comes up, shakes my hand, and thanks me for the videos that I've made and said, dude, you've taught me so much about closing deals. I watched this one video where you did this with a seller, and then the next day I turned around and I did the same thing, and it got me a deal. And that has been repeated. The culture that you guys have built with your team is just unbelievable. I just honestly, Charles, I mean, I love that so much, and thank you for allowing my content to help you guys on the closing side of things. It means so much to me because we are in Texas, so we've been at a lot of events together over the course of years, and it's like every single time I'm like, holy shit, there's a new kid over at HBHS came up and gave me a hug and says, dude, your videos help me. So I love that. And that's why we do this, right? So when are tickets going to be available for Wholesaling Sub 2.0? Do you know yet?
So yeah, so the event is September 15th to 16th. Of course, people want to fly in for the 14th because, especially if they're going elite or VIP, there's going to be it's going to be a special mixer where a lot of you guys will be at, and they'll have an opportunity to rub shoulders with you all. And then there's going to be a mastermind on Sunday, and of course, some of the sponsors will be there, some of the speakers that we handpick will be there, so that there's going to be a lot to take in. Michael's planning some really big stuff. Of course, those who come elite and VIP, and so a handful of speakers, speakers and sponsors, but a handful of the influencers that like yourself. We're going to be doing a private dinner at Ace's Steaks, which is Michael's restaurant.
Yep.
And then we're planning something even better for Saturday night. Like, it's going to be a massive experience in and out of it. And so the dates are September 15th to 16th. People can go now to wholesalinglive.io and purchase their tickets. What I will do is I got to get with Frank. I think right now there's a promo code, either hustle or early. They can get their tickets a lot cheaper than they will if they wait till late July or August. Because I'm going to share something with you. The event sold out last year. Like, we couldn't put any more people in there. It was standing room only, and we had a lot of folks that wanted to come afterwards. We can't sell any more tickets. Don't wait till July or August to get your tickets,
right?
Because we are going to go to regular price at that point. So I think what I want to do is I'm going to get with Mike, and I'd like to see about giving you your following their own promo code, and I'll send that over to you today, if they're watching. But right now they can get it wholesalinglive.io. It's either the promo code's either early or hustle.
Gotcha. So the other thing I just want to touch base on, this is not one of those, oh, we sold out bullshit stories. I was in the building the entire 2 days up to the point where I closed the deal and I ran out of there. It was full, like full capacity. You had all of us on the outskirts, and then every seat in there was full. I've been to multiple events there. I've never seen that room more full than it was for Wholesaling Live. It sold out legitimately. There was no more room. And I fully anticipate. I know you called me the other day and you said, yeah, we have a goal of increasing to this amount. I'll hold the amount. And I said, no. This has got to get more. You can get more, right? And you said, yeah, we can, but we're trying to set a reasonable goal. And I fully anticipate this is going to go higher.
Let me ask you a question. Can you play a video on your end?
Yeah, if you email it to me, I can play it.
I'll send you a link.
Yeah.
And I love this video. It's probably the best video that I love that we made. I just sent you the link to your
Okay.
messenger, to your messages. If you need me to send it to your messenger, I will. And that will capture the audience's attention as to what happened there at Wholesaling Live.
Yes. So
I believe you're in that video too.
I bet I am. No, man. Listen. Like I said, one of the best events ever. And the thing that I love about it is that you guys are wanting to do this for the right reason, right? You're wanting to do this so people can get that experience that they can't get anywhere else, and I love that part of it. All right, let me see how I can get this going here. We're gonna share the screen for those of you listening to it. You're just gonna have to listen to the audio.
That makes some money. It's wicked. You think it's a game? You think it's a fucking game? Y'all gon' make me lose my mind. Yo, what's my name? Y'all gon' make me go all out. DMX. Y'all gon' make me act a fool. Hey, yo, what's my name? What you got? Y'all gon' make me lose my cool. I tried so hard. What you really want? What you really want? But it doesn't even matter. Come on, try so hard. What you really want? It doesn't even matter. But it doesn't even matter. Come on, try. Give me a sign. Dog, I mean, bitches, you street bitches, slash, cocoa puff, sweet bitches, say you wanna eat bitches, but not me.
Yeah, baby. That was the event right there. Yeah, what I did make it. I was wearing the same damn shirt. But no, yeah, that was the event right there. And it was unlike anything I've ever experienced. Just packed. And when the phones, everybody got in the phones and started dialing, and then they had sellers on. I mean, they're raising their hands. Hey, come help, comping. Dude, I was literally sprinting from one side of the room to the other and saying, all right, I got an address right here, 123 Main Street, comping for me. They're like, okay, ARV's 250. I'm sprinting back. All right, 250. All right, let's do the math. What kind of repairs do they need? You know, and just telling people what to offer. It was amazing.
I take my hat off to everyone that came. I mean, I think we had maybe like 35 or 38 real estate, folks that, I mean, I take my hat off to them. They all showed up. They came to serve, like a lot of them didn't even get on stage. They just came to serve the people. And it was great. I gotta admit, look, and I'll say this again. There's no way Mike and I could have pulled that off without all of you guys and without everybody that participated. So we're very grateful.
Dude, it was an honor to be a part of it. I can't wait to be a part of 2.0. I'm going to defend that belt. If I can figure out how to move my arm. There you go. I'm going to defend that bad boy right there. That sits behind me on every single one of my videos now. I am proud to have that belt. I am proud to have something that says turn up the hustle. And the other thing is when HBHS does something, they do it the right way. Uncle Charles drove all the way up here and hand delivered that belt to me. It means so much to me. He hand delivered something else to me too. It's back there. I got the paddle still too. But no, brother, I appreciate you so much. And like I said, nothing but love and respect for you and your entire team and everything that you've created. You will always have mine and Cassie's support. So thank you so much. Where, for the people that are not currently following you, what's the best place for them to consume content from you?
So for me, I primarily post a lot. We post a lot on TikTok and IG and Facebook. So it's just real simple. It's real Uncle Charles, like real, like the real person. Real Uncle Charles. You can follow me on those three platforms. And then Michael's real simple. It's Mr. Hustle on IG and Facebook and TikTok. So we put a lot of content out. We just trying to wake people up, man. There's just a lot more to do. That if you just take an opportunity, and the majority of the content we put out is, I mean, well, all of it's free. You know, you just go there,
Right.
you just gotta listen.
And for those of you that regularly listen, stay tuned. Michael will be coming on the Titanium Vault closer towards the event so we can give some people some more details about it. And I'm sure if I know you guys, y'all will come up with a couple more crazy ideas before September. So, Uncle Charles, thank you so much for coming on here, brother. We appreciate you.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you.